Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get-together live here on Facebook, where we try to connect dots, good dots between people living here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals, dots that connect us with the things that are going on in the city, in our state, in our country, the things that we're up to. That's what we do. We try to connect good dots. That's our fundamental goal. And I mentioned that because it'll be very, very relevant in a conversation that we'll have in a little while, in which I am looking for all kinds of opinions that you may have on connections. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. I want to let you know that today is Monday, May 15. Today, Mexico celebrates Teachers' Day. And if there are teachers in your life, you may want to let them know that they are appreciated. As always, we're going to go through our news. And of course, there is a teacher in the house. I can see one already. Our dear Profe Harper. Muchas felicidades. I hope you have a great Teacher's Day today. We'll be having some news that have to do with it. As always, if you are new to our live broadcast, please feel free to let us know while we're watching live that you're with us. Just write the word new in your comment. We'll give you a nice little welcome. If there's something really important on your mind, please add a capital letter Q to your comment. Otherwise, I will not realize that you're actually asking me something, and we will not bring it up in the chit-chat section later on. So let's get started. We don't have a lot of news to share, but we have some interesting stuff. For starters, as I mentioned just a second ago, today is Teachers' Day in Mexico. The date of 15th of May was proposed at the Mexican Congress on 27th of September of 1917 and approved 1 month later on October 29th of the same year. It became law on December 5th of that same year, and we've been celebrating Teachers' Day on September 5th ever since. There are many different dates in which teachers are celebrated around the world. I did a little bit of research this morning, so it really boils down to where you live. But here, not only do we celebrate Teachers' Day today, but President López Obrador made an important announcement early this morning in his morning press conference. He announced a salary increase for teachers, public education teachers in Mexico, such that there will be no teachers in Mexico making less than 16,000 pesos per month moving forward. Now, that may or may not mean a lot to you, but just so that you know, 16,000 pesos a month is just a little bit over $900 per month. So are teachers in Mexico well compensated? Probably not as well as in other countries. In fact, teachers in Mexico there's this reputation that Mexico does not value education based on the salaries that are paid for teachers. So we certainly show our appreciation to the teachers in our lives, and we hope that they continue to be better appreciated moving forward. Moving right along, some concerned citizens have reached out to Tribuna de la Bahía to denounce trees that have been illegally cut down in Amapas for some time to make way for a new construction project that apparently does not have the proper construction permits from Semarnat or the Profeco. And apparently the Jalisco delegate for the Semarnat, which is the Secretary of the Environment and Natural Resources, stated that he was not aware of such a project being built. So if you're out there building condos and you haven't applied for the proper permits, just do what's expected. Go and get your permits so you can continue going about your business. And if you are cutting down trees illegally, well, don't do that because rain season is coming and that area of the mountain is under constant threat of slides due to the rain and whatnot. It also, as we announced last week, hurricane season begins today on Mexico's Pacific coast. Authorities have announced they expect approximately between 16 and 22 storms this season, out of which 9 to 11 will become tropical storms. 4 to 6 are expected to become Category 1 or 2 hurricanes, and between 3 and 5 will actually become hurricanes Category 3 or higher. Now, how many of those 3 or 5 will actually hit us? We don't know, but as always, we are mindful of the fact that the rain season is around the corner, probably not soon enough. I was out enjoying myself in the mountains this past weekend, and everything looked pretty dry out there. Let's see what the weather forecast has in store for us today. It's sunny. Fuck yeah. That's what the snarky weatherman says. It is actually 27 degrees right now. Humidity is high, 68%. And our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 80. Our weather forecast for today says it's going to be humid with clear skies throughout the day, a high of 30 and a low of 20. Tomorrow, Tuesday, we can expect mostly clear skies in the morning with thunderstorms in the afternoon, a chance of rain of 18%. That is good news. A high of 29 and a low of 22. And then Wednesday, mostly clear skies in the morning with overcast skies in the afternoon and an even higher chance of rain, 33%, a high temperature of 30 and a low of 22. So if the weather forecast is accurate, we can expect to have some rain this week, and it will be very much appreciated as things are looking quite dry out and about. Now, we are going to now, as we move forward with the rest of the broadcast, we are going to play a little game of what's wrong with this picture. This is an old photograph that I found on Facebook today of downtown Puerto Vallarta. And the question is, what's wrong with this picture? I know it's blurry, it's old, but I can tell you it was taken some 30 years ago. You are looking at, on the lower right-hand corner, you're looking to the Quale River, reaching the ocean. And right down here is what used to be the old Benito Juarez Park, which was still there when I came to Puerto Vallarta 21 years ago. This park was subsequently demolished and turned into a parking lot. The sculpture is still there somewhere. I forget exactly where. But notice how there was no malecón. It was just plain beach right in this part of what we now call the malecón. And you used to be able to come down this street with your car and park right next to the beach. That parking spot I do remember from my early years here in Puerto Vallarta. But of course, we know that whole part of town has changed, some for the better, some not so much. Now, this is something that just made me laugh this morning. There are people that see an opportunity wherever they go and they seize it. We reported last week of increased activity in the Popocatépetl volcano right outside of Mexico City, and it's been fuming for years. It's been fuming for hundreds of years, as a matter of fact. But apparently, there is an individual using Facebook Marketplace to sell authentic Popocatépetl volcano ash by the kilo. Yes, and a kilo can set you back some 11,000 pesos. That's almost the amount of money that a teacher makes on a given month in Mexico. This person is also selling volcanic rocks for 250 pesos each. I don't know what to tell you. If you need authentic volcanic ash in your life and you're willing to pay 11,000 pesos for it, well, the article has a link. Other than that, well, maybe you don't need it, and that's okay too. Last but not least, before I go into some discussion and opinion seeking, two pork-based dishes. And I'm sorry, I apologize ahead of time. We're going to talk about pork, and I know that some people don't eat pork or don't eat meat, so maybe go get some more coffee while we go through this one. Two pork-based dishes show up on the top 10 of Taste Atlas's list of 100 best pork-based dishes in the world. And carnitas show up as number one. Carnitas, as you know, literally means little meats, and it is a dish of Mexican cuisine that originated in the state of Michoacan, made by braising or simmering pork in oil or preferably lard until tender. The process takes 3 to 4 hours, and the result is heavenly. If you enjoy tacos and you eat meat and you haven't had tacos de carnitas, I'm craving them right now. And of course, tacos de carnitas are one of the many different types of tacos you can find in Mexico. But tacos de carnitas, like other kinds of tacos, are time sensitive. It's very rare to find a place that sells tacos de carnitas after, say, 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So carnitas are usually a morning to early afternoon affair, whereas, as we know, tacos al pastor, for example, are usually an evening affair. Now, I want to mention an event that came my way this morning, and it made me think about the line between good intentions and trustworthiness. Now, here at Coffee and Headlines, as we said earlier, we go about our business creating connections between ourselves and each other, and ourselves and the stuff that is going on here in Puerto Vallarta. The latter, the stuff that is going on, it's not for everyone. I mean, some of the things that we announce here at Coffee and Headlines are not for me, for whatever reason. Maybe it's activity that I don't enjoy, or maybe there's not enough information provided. There's all kinds of reasons. And also, some of the things that we may mention here in the broadcast may not be for you, and that's okay too. But whenever we try to connect, we look for connections that don't challenge our trust factor. There's a lot of people organizing things out there. Some people with more good intention than others. There's only a few people out there organizing stuff with less than honorable intentions. So good intentions abound, but there are, in my little opinion, a lot of ways in which good intention can be sabotaged and make an event not that trustworthy, or it makes you wonder if the event can be trusted. Before I show you the event, which is a lovely event, I want to talk a little bit about some considerations, because, good intentions are not black and white. They can be subjective depending on various factors, and some considerations to help navigate them include, is there consistency in actions? If someone is consistently following through on their commitments and acting honestly and reliably, then there is consistency. The person could be transparent or not as they disseminate the information. They could or not have a track record or reputation. I mean, all these things are very, very important. But fundamentally, we are looking to spread good intentions in the most credible way. So this came my way this morning, an announcement for a Rio Quale cleanup before the rain begins. And of course, I thank the person that sent it to me by saying, thank you for sharing. May I suggest a Facebook event? So you can increase your reach online. If you create one, feel free to share the URL with me. Best wishes. And I also indicated that the image that was shared was teeny, so it looks pixelated on the screen. And of course, by the time I took a closer look at the image, I noticed that Rio Quale is misspelled. And Sunday, June 3rd is not a Sunday. Sunday, June 4th is a Sunday. So the person acknowledged the fact that there were some mistakes. And the person said, I appreciate the tip about the Facebook event. I can't create a Facebook event because then everybody would want one and my name would be connected to it. And then this person came up and said, my real job is branding and marketing plus live streaming, recording, and live webinars, which all sounds great. But I thought to myself, well, wait a second. If you're volunteering graphics, then maybe people will not appreciate the fact that even creating graphics is something that some people do for a living. And sometimes when we volunteer with good intentions, and sometimes in doing so, we forget to add value to the work that we're doing. So back to this event, we know that it's happening at the Rio Quale with a C, not with a Q. We know that it's happening on Sunday, June 4th. We know that there's more information to be had with a name, Dean, and there's a phone number. The instructions that were sent to me also say that if you don't feel like cleaning up the river, you can pay 200 pesos and a person will be hired to help. So, on the one hand, I think this is a great idea, but I don't know that there's enough information for me to know who's organizing and what the outcome is going to be, and then they want money and so forth and so on. So, is this something that is trustworthy enough to go? I'm sure it will be to some people and it may not be to others. I personally would not consider this something for me because I don't have enough information, but I honestly don't know if it's just me being complicated or how you feel about that. And again, the reason I bring this conversation up is not because I'm trying to shade in any way the effort, but I'm just wondering how much, in looking at this information that we shared, I mean, is this something that you're going to jump out of your chair and schedule and you don't want to miss it? Or could you benefit from more clarity as far as the information that is provided? And it's funny because the first message that comes up, I'm glad it's not me, but then asks, how do you market yourself as a graphics marketing person when you can't even get the information right? Well, in all fairness, when you're a graphic designer, you're giving the information, and it's not necessarily your information as your responsibility as a graphic designer to notice these things. Some people do, some people don't. But the point that I'm trying to make is this credible enough for us? Because if you're telling me that this is enough information for you to get excited, then I have been overreaching, and maybe I don't need to be so choosy in the amount of information that I provide. I've also been having conversations with friends of mine that are constantly hoping for more accurate information about the idea of either doing an ebook on event management or event creation or doing some kind of webinar. So I wonder how you feel about all that, if at all, because you can also say, I'm actually not concerned. You can also say, we don't come to Coffee and Headlines looking for clarity in every message or everything that gets announced. And if that is the case, that would help me a lot in figuring out exactly what I share with you. So please feel free to comment on this. Again, no shade against the idea of cleaning up the Quale. It is so important that we volunteer and find ways to give back. But again, I'm concerned about that line between good intentions and trustworthiness. Thank you. With that said, let's break this into chit chat and see if anybody is commenting this, that, or the other this morning. I see good mornings, which I appreciate very much. Thank you so much. David has finally booked a condo, booked airline tickets, 86 more days, and will be bringing Butterfingers as well. Yay. We always like that. And the Butterfingers too. Let's see what else is going on. Many hellos. Thank you so much for that. Cedric or Cedric, I'm still not sure about your name, but I don't mean to mispronounce it. Is it E as in rain, or is it E as in eel? Cedric or Cedric? I'm just happy that you are here in Puerto Vallarta for good. That is wonderful. Let's see. More good mornings. Let's see. Oh, I didn't know there was a strike. Oakland kids go back to school today. The strike is over. Were the kids on strike or the schools or their teachers? I'm just glad it's resolved. Guadalajara correspondent, as in our friend Luisa, correspondent reported they had the first rain of the season the other day. That is wonderful news. Let's see. I'm looking for cues or relevant comments. I see a comment from Logan. Great that they were able to stop the unauthorized construction, but unfortunately the environmental impact is already done. As you cross the southbound bridge in Emiliano Zapata, you can look up and see the giant gash and concrete slab in the hillside. That's really unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Let's see. Paula asks, any idea what year the picture was? As I mentioned, it was around 30 years ago. The outlet that posted it said it was about 30 years ago. Let's see. There's a queue here. Benito Juarez Park, talk about literally paving paradise and putting up a parking lot. Well, yep, that's what they did. And I remember, I don't remember the details, but all those parking lots that appeared out of nowhere were maneuvering, because I remember that permits were given to the parking lot there, and then there was a parking lot at Miguel Hidalgo, and then there was a parking lot at Emiliano Zapata, and then there was a parking lot in Pitillal. All these 4 parking lots came up at about the same time, and they were involved with strange ownerships. Like, I remember people used to say that the parking lot in Pitillal is owned by Alejandro Fernandez, the singer. I don't know if it's true or not, but the trees are gone. Gary says, selling volcanic ash, what an asshole. Well, there's some way something useful for someone. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to buy it. It's not for me. Let's see. Details are very important when deciding to volunteer. Thank you for that. Clarity, please. More of that. You can compare the response to our interactions about feedback and events. My inner red flag goes up. Thank you for that comment. Kathy and I appreciate that you are so careful with the information you pass along here on Coffee and Headlines. We know you are dependable and reliable. I appreciate that, Dan, but I will also confess that even I get lost sometimes. Like, my music appreciation presentation is this week, and I haven't done much for myself in social media yet. So I also need to remind myself to take care of myself first and foremost. So I hear you. Sue says, when I saw the post on Facebook, I immediately noticed that the date was wrong. People were asking for clarity, so you are not wrong. I appreciate that. I don't think, again, there are bad intentions. No, but I mean, who is going to trust your event if you're not spelling it properly and you don't have the date correct? I mean, mistakes are made, honestly, but, you know, we can all help ourselves if possible. If I had questions, I'd call Dean for more information. At least he gave his phone number. Well, you may know this particular Dean. I am usually not in the business or habit of calling people I don't know, but you may be ahead of the game. Oh, thank you very much, Cedric. Oh, I think I got it right. Cedric. Thank you very much, Cedric. We always try to get the names properly. I'll try to remember that moving forward. Cedric. Clarity of information is always necessary, in my humble opinion. Thank you for that. Catherine says, did anyone find out who or what organization is responsible for the spikes on the planters on Basilio Vadillo? Ah, yes, we were talking about the spikes on the planters when we were in Guadalajara, and commenting how comforting it is that in Guadalajara parks, you can sit your tired butt next to a plant and rest assured that it won't be pricked by spikes, whereas you cannot do that in the planters along Basilio Vadillo. So I wonder if this was the garden club that made that decision, or if it was the city officials that made that decision. But just know that if you have a tired butt and you want to sit down to rest your weary butt on Basilio Vadillo, you can't, because the planters have spikes. Let's see what else. Which mayor was a parking lot mayor? You know, I don't remember. That was some time ago. But I do remember. It was all murky back then. And this, my friends, brings us to the end of your comments today. I think we got some clarity. I appreciate your feedback on this issue of clarity. I'm always torn between the amount of information that can be found online on how to do something and the disconnect with connecting with that information. Whenever there are events going on in the city, and we've talked about that many times, my wish for those events is that they are properly disseminated, that enough details are provided, that we are conveyed how important it is to attend these events and what a difference we will make if we attend them. And of course, we want a good narrative. We want to know what the event is about and why it is important and why we should care. That's my wish for this week. We will continue thinking about the possibility of doing some kind of event promotion webinar or something. But first, I have my own presentation to get ready, so I'm going to focus the rest of the day working on my Blame It on the Bossa Nova presentation, which, as you know, will happen this Thursday at 5 o'clock at the Joint Co-working Hotel. If you enjoy Bossa Nova, join us. It should be a lot of fun.